The life path number 9 is one that signifies insight, generosity, emotion, compassion, awareness, interpretation, diversity, and strength. 9 contains a little bit of all other numbers, as well as many unique characteristics of its own. The number's influence makes you versatile and unusual. To better understand 9's uncommon universal effect, add together the numbers from 1 to 8. That is, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. The answer you'll get is 36, and when you add 3 and 6 together, we get the number 9. Also, add 9 to 9 and you have 18, and when we add 1 and 8, we get back the number 9. When you multiply 9 by 9, you get 81, and of course, 8 plus 1 is equals to 9. Look at what happens when you multiply 9 ones by 9 ones. The result is a fascinating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which, when all these numbers are added together, gives us 81, and of course, 8 plus 1 gives us 9. Nine is the only number that works in such mysterious ways, and because it contains all the energies of other numbers, you can be all things to all people. You can adapt in a wide variety of situations, as well as environments. Of course, you can also be quite a mystery too. 9 takes the shape of a spiral. This reflects the combined motion of creativity and evolvement. If you're born in the 9 life path, you have great potential for creative thinking, artistic output, and rapid evolution of the mind. This number enables you to live a life full of love, accomplishment, and personal satisfaction. But you must accept that feelings are what you came into this life to express and understand. The 9 life path is indeed an emotional one. 9 is the most complicated of all the numbers and the most difficult to make sense of. Until you understand its evolutionary purpose, life can seem like an eternal roller coaster. Trauma after trauma may be experienced until you finally accept that emotion is what you're here to learn about. When 9's true nature is denied or exaggerated, you can hurt people by taking their love for granted and trying to control their lives. You may also have a desire to give, but will give to the wrong people and for the wrong reasons, one of which is guilt. Some 9's are adept at making others feel guilty, using misfortune as an excuse to take rather than to give. Global awareness may also exist, but from a fearful, bigoted, and unaccepting point of view. You may get some insight, but then reject the insight. And even though you may be compassionate, you might think that this is actually a weakness of having to let your guard down. The courage that is typical of those on the 9 life path is then expressed through misplaced anger instead of self-acceptance and fairness. As a 9, you can never be happy when your life path energy is exaggerated or denied, because this imbalance tells you that happiness does not exist or that only your happiness matters. When 9 is experienced in this way, the energy becomes extremely selfish and lacks compassion. Fortunately, most 9's do not stay in this dark and lonely place for long. The 9 mind evolves in many ways that others may not experience. This enables you to feel your feelings in their most profound and diverse forms. You often have to travel in what seems like the wrong direction, usually backwards, in order to move forward. The 9 life path is so complex and multi-layered that you cannot help but become involved in the metaphysics of life. You have an insatiable appetite for spiritual and psychological growth. It's important to have a basic understanding of reincarnation because this lifetime is likely to be your last. As a 9, you're an old soul who has lived many lifetimes. Haven't you ever wondered why nothing really shocks you? It is because you have seen and done it all before. You have existed in every form, color, race, creed, gender, and circumstance. You have traveled every walk of life. Of course, this does not mean that you have learned all you need to learn, and your experiences in this lifetime will make that very clear. Be prepared to let go of your previous beliefs and learn something new. As a 9, you are here to conclude and resolve the issues of the past and move on to a higher existence. You must live this life fully and finish what you start. Tie up the loose ends and gain experience from past and present mistakes. All of this can seem daunting, but in a different light, can be quite exciting and fulfilling. The people influenced by the life path number 9 have a live and let live attitude that is a beautiful part of who they are. However, this attitude can also backfire on them. If you're a 9, you need to counter this attitude. To do this, you have to develop a deep respect for and be comfortable in your role as a giver. Then, you'll have no problem saying no whenever necessary. You will understand that nobody owes you anything and that there is no one to whom you are obligated either. Then, you'll be able to move away from the guilt that often plagues the 9s who don't know what it means to be a 9. You'll be able to understand how beautiful the act of selfless giving actually is. Just remember that you cannot give what you haven't got, and you cannot keep giving without replenishing your stock, whether it's in energy or material things. Aim for quality rather than quantity. The 9 life path gives you the gift of versatility. There is very little to which you cannot relate, and you probably know a little bit about everything. However, while such flexibility is a great asset, it can cause problems with regard to your sense of identity, making a living and establishing a secure base for yourself. Therefore, it's important to specialize in something in which you're passionately interested in. Otherwise, you cannot help but suffer the pain and feeling of being unfulfilled. Self-fulfillment, usually through creativity and helping others, is one of the beautiful gifts of being a 9. Your life often creates circumstances to which you must constantly adapt. This makes it difficult to focus on one thing at a time. You may spread yourself too thin, unable to concentrate long enough to gain the necessary experience or expertise. You may find yourself bouncing from one thing to another without actually completing anything, unaware that completion is what is most needed. You may already be doing pretty well in life, but there is no telling just how much you can accomplish with focus. It is always lack of concentration that prevents 9s from seeing their higher potential. It is up to you to recognize your speciality, your passion, and give it the focus it deserves. As a 9, you have a tendency to waste your time, energy, opportunities, and resources on unimportant matters. Therefore, it's important to occasionally stand back from the ongoing drama of your life and assess any situations or relationships that need to be weeded out and ended. To find the truth, you must begin at the beginning and go back to the source, the origins of the matter, back to the past, to release yourself from unexpressed emotions which are holding you there. Recognize where you are torturing yourself emotionally over matters you cannot absolutely do anything about. When you realize that this is what you often do to yourself, it will be easier to accept the past and let it go. You'll be able to move on to a more comfortable reality. Ultimately, you're learning how to let go. This can be a painful process until you understand its necessity. That as a 9, you cannot let go until you fully understand and resolve the matters in question. You may question how it's possible to be the loving and generous person you know you are when you have to hurt yourself or others in the process of letting go. The life of a 9 is never simple. Very often, the people you think you may hurt actually need to be released so that their lives can unfold in a way that is natural for them. For you, partings are such sorrowful and frightening occasions, only to find in retrospect that it was the best thing for all concerned. On the other hand, by developing a greater tolerance for others, the need to end certain relationships need never arise. You must learn to accept the diversity of humanity and enjoy the richness of loving relationships in which common goals take the place of ego. It is hard for those who love you to share you with the world, as they often must do. The least you can do is to allow them to be who they are rather than who you want them to be. You can be frustrated with those who do not live up to your high ideals, but your disappointment is actually with your own intolerance. You may think that tolerance is one of the greater attributes, but this is a misunderstanding, since we only tolerate that which we do not like. Acceptance is key. This means that you must stop judging others as well as yourself. 9 is the number of giving, and the most precious gift you can bestow on anyone is your acceptance of them just as they are. This does not imply that you have to lower your standards or put up with ongoing adverse behavior. Rather, you must stay true to yourself and principles. But your vision is a unique one, and you cannot expect others to see life as you see it. If you try to control others, or if you are overly possessive, irresponsible, unemotional, or destructive, the 9 energy will work against you dramatically. As a 9, you're likely to experience at least one major trauma, illness, loss, accident, scandal, or some other dramatic event which changes the entire course of your life. However, such painful events often turn out to be significant turning points which connect you to your emotional power, which in turn sets you up on a more meaningful path. When you honestly express your emotions, life will provide you with many unusual and profound experiences and understandings. As your experience grows, you'll become a philosopher of sorts, and you will want to share your insight with others. On the 9 life path, there is nothing you cannot handle. You have had to face fear so often that you instinctively understand its purpose. The more you face your fears head-on, the more you will know what really needs to be feared and what does not need. This makes you courageous, intelligent, and compassionate. You may have to work hard at building this level of confidence. But when you do, you'll experience a massive shift of consciousness. Your emotions will become your power instead of your weaknesses, and you'll develop a much deeper appreciation of your purpose as a human being. Some of your most natural characteristics are those of generosity and compassion. Others who can sense your need to give may try to take advantage of you. Therefore, you must learn to give only because you want to, not because you feel you should do. You cannot battle with guilt. You can only recognize it and move away from it. Remember, guilt is not an emotion, but a wall of judgment which prevents you from feeling anything at all. There are so many ways in which to give. Few of them require sacrifice. You can give as a loving spouse or parent. You can give kindness and comfort to others, or money and material assistance to those in need. You can also give friendship, encouragement, opportunity, emotional support, guidance, and counsel. You can give of yourself through your particular field of work or through your abundance of creative talent. When you are unfocused, you can be all talk and no action. Who can blame others for ignoring or stealing your ideas when it is obvious that you had no intention of putting them into use? You're a natural planner and dreamer, but you must also take the action which will actualize your goals. Only through undaunted belief in yourself can you do this. The 9 life path is made up of all other numbers, and you must know what they consist of in order to incorporate their qualities in your daily life. Number 1 stands for independence. You have to know who you are and adapt to change and lead your own life. Number 2 stands for relation. You are good at cooperating with others. You are patient, you are tactful, and provide careful attention to detail. Number 3 stands for creativity. Communication, friendship, beauty, and happiness are key for people in number 3. Number 4 stands for breakthrough. You have to know that your work must be what you love doing. You have to deal with this limitation. Number 5 stands for freedom. You're going to gain experience by learning from your mistakes. You also love traveling and can cope with sudden development. Number 6 stands for responsibility. You love living free and living responsibly. This is the ultimate balancing act. Number 7 stands for wisdom, inner development, spirituality, and knowledge. Number 8 stands for satisfaction. You can use your powers of manifestation through true understanding and balance. Finally, number 9 is completion. You have to follow your feelings to free will. As a 9, you are a very intelligent being. You are capable of thinking, feeling, and acting. You are a very intelligent being. You are capable of thinking, feeling, and acting. 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 You are capable of thin You can be perceived as many things, ranging from the nicest person in the world to an angry, self-centered alarmist. Very often, what seems to others as negative behavior is actually quite natural for one who is experiencing so many different aspects of life as intensely as you are. Be yourself. Let your feelings take their spontaneous course through you and out of you. You are able to see all sides of a situation, and you realize just how nearsighted others can be. Even though you become frustrated by a world that is so gullible, your caring nature wants to open people's eyes to reality. Yes, you are an intense person. You are here to learn about life from a broader perspective and then interpret your findings to others. You must find a way to communicate complex ideas in simple forms. Otherwise, your life will feel like one big ongoing struggle to explain yourself. You can impress others with your versatility and broad knowledge, but in the end, it is you who must feel satisfied. Success is the result of different factors being brought together at the right time, in the right place, and by the right people. You feel deeply about a lot of things which are connected by a common thread. What you want can only be determined from what you feel and how deeply you let yourself feel it. For you, it is not just enough to merely wish for something. It is a matter of setting your sights on what you desire and then drawing yourself closer to it, step by step, with patience and determination. As more steps are taken, new insights accelerates the process. Then, you realize that this particular goal is only one step in a far greater process and that even higher goals are attainable. Such is the spiraling, evolving nature of the 9 life path. 9's emphasis on endings means that you cannot progress until each step is concluded. You may often find yourself having to go back over ground that you thought you had already covered. But once this lesson is learned, there is no telling what you can achieve, especially if your goals involve creativity or humanitarian issues. You do not like to be distracted when your heart is set on something, but your diverse nature often pulls you in different directions. As you take your time to figure out which way to go, others may see you as lazy or scattered. But if you believe in what you are doing, the criticisms of others will have little effect. You are traveling a very different road to most other people, and you must therefore give yourself enough freedom and detachment to find your way home. Eventually, both you and those around you will see that all those seemingly unrelated events in your life are actually connected in some way and represent the link between the unknown and your very purpose in this lifetime. Try to leave nothing unfinished. Tie up all the loose ends. When you're finished and let go, then move on. What a perfect journey of yours can be when you know how to travel its powerful, unpredictable, and loving energy.